it's scary to. I know I always use this talk too. I'm kind of being hypocritical right now because I hate when people talk about moving on from somebody, whether it be a quarterback, a head coach, or something else, and they're like, "Well, who are we going to get?" I think that's a weak argument. But in this case, when you look at Ben Johnson and that kind of brilliant offensive mind, those don't just grow on trees. Although they seem to be budding a lot of different places in the NFL, but you talk about the steps back that teams take when they lose a guy like that, especially when they don't have one implemented as their head coach. Like the 49ers didn't take a step back after losing their offensive coordinator because they have Kyle Shanahan in place as their head coach.
Yeah.
You know, Sean McVay didn't take a step back after losing his offensive coordinator because Sean McVay is implemented as their head coach. The Detroit Lions, although it's that argument that, oh, you can't be scared to lose somebody, you pay someone to move on. Dan Campbell isn't this brilliant offensive mind. As much as I love him as a head coach and think he is a great head coach, he's not this brilliant X's and O's offensive mind, and he'll tell you that himself. Ben Johnson is the one who built this offense. Ben Johnson is the one who sat down with Jared Goff over the summer and built an offense that caters to his strengths. Ben Johnson is the one that breaks apart defensive schemes and knows what plays to call in what situations to put that offense in the best situation to have success. So it is scary to think of a world without him. But then again, Dan Campbell is the one who identified Ben Johnson. Dan Campbell is the one who kept Ben Johnson on from the Patricia era. Dan Campbell is the one who instilled faith in Ben Johnson and gave him that opportunity as offensive coordinator, firing one of his close friends and a guy who was already a cemented offensive coordinator in this league in Anthony Lynn, moving on from him, realizing the talent he had in Ben Johnson and promoting him to that position.
And I understand that. But beforehand, it was Anthony Lynn. That was his top choice. That was the number one, the cream of the crop.
And he saw it wasn't working and moved on from it.
And then the other situation, too, there aren't Ben Johnsons growing off trees. They're far and few between. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'd say if you're looking for, Ben Johnson, I don't think he's going to move on this offseason. At least I hope he doesn't. Jesus, I always go for the wrong side when I think my head's tilted. But I just think that Dan Campbell has shown that he knows where to find talent when it comes to his assistant coaches, and he's shown that he's not scared to move on from one when he's not working. Obviously, he did so with Anthony Lynn. It worked out in spades. He did so with Aubrey Pleasant. It's worked out in spades. I expect Dan Campbell to, if Ben Johnson does move on, which will be a very sad moment for me as a Detroit Lions fan and for Detroit Lions fans everywhere, I believe that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes will be able to identify their next candidate, whether that be someone on the team or someone on another roster, go after them and get them. And for me, I'm looking at that 49er staff or that Los Angeles Rams staff. I'm looking at receivers coaches, running backs coaches, or a tight end coach from one of those teams. Preferably, I don't even know his name, the running backs coach for the 49ers. You go, that would be who I'd be looking at, is a guy like that, one of the specialty coaches from one of these great minds, whether it be Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan or someone off the Dolphins staff. Looking at Dolphins offensive coordinator or offensive assistant. It would suck to lose Ben Johnson, and the Lions right now, as I see it, don't have a very good person waiting in the wings to kind of take that role. But I feel confident that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes will be able to find that person and pounce on him.